The majority.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Yeah! Dude!
Well, let's get back to it.
Are these texts and emails from tonight already? They are. I mean, come on. I've fallen behind. I haven't even started yet. John emails, have I got news for you? Had a tribute programme all about Bodge tonight. I'm not sure his supporters would have been enjoying it very much, as the panel did. Oh, never mind. Does anybody watch Have I Got News for You anymore?
No.
I didn't think so. I'm amazed it's still on. It's still on. Jerry emails, why don't we do a swap for our PM with the USA president? It would be rather more entertaining than the 2 PM options that we have on offer. Well, just the very thought of it, Liz.
That is a disgrace.
It's going to be a washout weekend with up to 4 inches of rain set to fall in 24 hours in some parts, with thunder, lightning, very, very frightening. With highs in southern England of 26 degrees centigrade tomorrow and 23 degrees centigrade on Sunday. On what is the first weekend of the meteorological autumn, it will continue to feel hot and sticky.
Disgusting.
The heaviest rain will be over southwest Scotland and Northern Ireland, where a weather warning is in place for the rest of your lives. The rest of your lives. Checking while you wait. A new update of Bixby is available. Do I want it? Well, let me think about that.
No.
I don't even know what it is. But whatever it is, you can stick it. Aha! Look! Oh my... Wow. This is Glasgow. Raining tonight and raining tomorrow and raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday. Would you like me to go on?
No.
Raining every day for the rest of your lives.
Damn it!
Oh, well, never mind. Never mind, eh? Southwest Scotland, Northern Ireland tomorrow looking at up to 40 millimetres of rain to fall in between 2 and 3 hours. And I will change European surrender measurements for Her Majesty's feet and inches. So you get feet and inches by millimetres. So you double the millimetres and add 32 to get feet. So if it's 40 millimetres, so double 40 is 80, and 80 plus 32 is 122. Wow! It's going to be 122 feet of rain in Glasgow tomorrow. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Showers in eastern England with brighter spells, humid in the sunshine with temperatures into the low 20s. That's the low 70s Fahrenheit for patriots. Met Office spokesmodel Alex said, whilst the summer has been dominated by high pressure, we are seeing big changes for this weekend. Low pressure will dominate throughout the weekend and into next week. He said we're going to see slow-moving weather fronts of persistent rain, particularly over you-know-where. Gusty winds tomorrow, further slow-moving weather fronts into Sunday will bring more persistent rain and gusty windiness, which is a technical term. But, we have had a pretty good summer, and although it seems to have ended quite quickly, September seems to have come around a bit fast, in my opinion. Someone ought to look into that. England, where did August go, by the way? England has had its joint hottest summer on record as in ever, says the Met Office. The summer of 2022 tied with 2018 to be the warmest on records, in records stretching back to 1884. Whenever that was. It means that 4 of the 5 warmest summers ever have occurred since 2003. The Met Office said this is the effect of human-induced climate change. No, it cannot be true. No need to trouble your pretty little head about it, because no less an expert than Lord David Frost has spoken on that issue and assured us that there is no climate emergency. And he's the genius who negotiated our Brexit deal, so he must know what he's talking about. Why is anybody listening to that man? Saturday, dry in the northeast and the southeast, otherwise rain and showers, cool in the west, otherwise warm. Did you get that? Sunday to Tuesday, unsettled everywhere, here, there and everywhere, baby. Showers or longer spells of rain, heavy at times. strong winds for some, temperatures near normal. Well, that doesn't sound very good. I mean, it sounds like instant autumn. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
Unsettled for the rest of next week, with very heavy rainfall and thunderstorms, but drier and brighter spells are also likely. For the following week, some drier conditions are possible, but still a risk of showers in many places. Temperatures likely around average, but cooler in the rain. And then, the second half of September. This is it, everyone. Last chance for warm weather before we get sent inside by the cold and the dark for 6 months. Fingers crossed. Good luck. During the second half of September, an east-west split in conditions, with eastern parts seeing the driest weather with the most sunshine and western parts experiencing more rain. But temperatures are likely to be above average for most. Temperatures are likely to be above average for most? We'll take it. Let's have a call, a suspiciously keen caller, if you don't mind me saying, in Lambeth. Hello, Tony.
Hello, good evening. I just thought I'd like to mention 3 things. The first one is I just found out that my annual pension, my boss from the company that I work for, he earns more in a day than what I earn annually in my pension.
Wow. He must be
What do you think of that, then?
He must be great at his job.
And the other thing I was going to say was that some Tory MP today said to solve our heating problems, just insulate the loft hatch. And that would solve the whole problem.
Great. What if you live in a basement?
I didn't get... Yeah, well, I don't think he's worked that one out yet.
No.
That would be his next speech for tomorrow.
Yeah,
and the other thing that made me
He doesn't
laugh
have to concern himself with that because it's the staff that live in the basement.
True, if they're allowed out. And the other thing...
That makes no sense, but go on.
The other thing that made me laugh was
if they're allowed out. Of where?
Yeah, well...
Prison?
Well, probably, like slave labour, how this country's turned out now.
Right, that has nothing to do with them living in the basement, but go on.
True. The other thing I was going to say was that, I don't know whether it's a joke on behalf of Boris Johnson, but the man that's defending him is called Lord Panic.
Panic, yeah. Panic.
Is that really true?
I think that is an actual true fact.
Okay, I just thought it was a joke from Boris Johnson's last little party in the shop.
There's plenty of jokes, yeah. No, but he isn't one of them. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. I think he was skirting there on the very edge of being a listener with material.
Oh, no.
Sue emails, Bodger is probably regretting by now the fact that he was, shall we say, economical with the truth. Liar! About Partygate in the Commons. In fact, such is his concern that he's hired the services of a top barrister, Lord Panic. In a last-ditch attempt to avoid such scrutiny altogether, presumably the reason he chose Lord Panic was because Lord Miracle was fully booked. Oh, my God. I mean, can you believe this guy? In order to deal with the energy price crises, not just a crisis, they are crises, plural. In order to deal with the energy price crises, outgoing Premier and giant sulk Boris Bodger Johnson has been advising Britons to buy a new kettle.
What?
I mean, honestly, his kettle rant was right up there with this.
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World is...
Yes.
It has...
yes.
Peppa Pig...
is the right answer. Mr. Blobby says that buying a new kettle will save you £10 a year on your soaring energy bills.
Oh, fabulous.
And to think that people say he's out of touch. The outgoing... Can you believe that this guy's the actual Prime Minister?
No.
He's outgoing. He is that, yeah. Plus, he's leaving. And not a moment too soon. The outgoing Prime Minister said in his final major policy speech today that those suffering under the cost of living crisis should pay £20 for a new kettle to help save in the long run. He actually said that out loud, using his own mouth. He said, if you have an old kettle that takes ages to boil, it may cost £20 to replace it, but if you get a new one, you will save £10 a year every year on your electricity bill. And that doesn't sound like it's true. But let's assume that it is. That would be a great way to save £10 on your fuel bill, which on recent estimates is going to be, let's see, £7,000 a year by spring. So with £10 off, that's a much more manageable £6,990. The nation thanks you, Bodge. You've saved us all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I mean, several things, one of which is he has never even seen, let alone used, a £20 kettle. Do me a favour. £220, I'd believe. Do Bentley make kettles? Meanwhile, Chancellor Nadim Numbers Zahawi has said that he is deeply concerned at the prospect of his horses freezing this winter, and then remembered he's a millionaire. Tory leadership hopeful Liz Truss has given a strong indication that she will provide no support to struggling households should she become the next Prime Minister. Or Tory leadership hopeful Liz Truss has given a strong indication that she will provide support to struggling households should she become the next Prime Minister. Select. Which do you think is most close to the truth? She said, I am working with the companies to make sure, and NGOs, of course, to make sure those people who are really struggling get that help, both financially, but the companies themselves have already started to write letters and emails to start to ask people if they are vulnerable, if they are feeling that they can't pay, that they should contact their supplier, their companies. Which sounds like... What's she talking about? It sounds... I mean, it's just gobbledygook, apart from anything else. I mean, I recognise each word in that huge sentence, but not in the order in which she's used them. But it does actually add up to what sounds like the no support option. NGOs, by the way, they're charitable organisations. In other words, Blunder Trust is going to leave it to the food banks and the warm banks and the neighbours and the relatives to take care of the poor and the desperate and the those hard pressed to get by. You can do all that while she takes care of the rich. I mean, billionaires are people too, you know. What have we done to deserve this? It must have been awful. The really bad thing is I can't remember doing it. Meanwhile, Numbers Zahawi pledged to deliver £37 billion worth of support, which is 56% more than the £128 billion that is new money and the £63 million that is coming down the pipe, or in other words...
86%, 5 million, and of course, over 50%. And what I'm saying is, you know, an additional 162 million. And that comes, by the way, on top of the 500 million.
On top of the 500 million. Anybody getting that?
Yes.
No one's getting it. He's on a trip to America, by the way, is Nadim Numbers Zahawi, to talk to American leaders on what they're doing, because apparently no one in America has a phone. He had to go there personally. He's taking the Jacob Smug route to government efficiency by spending a vast amount of our money on himself. I mean, is there a good reason why the government efficiency minister took a chauffeured limousine to Wales when he could have gone more efficiently and it would have cost us poor dopes who have to pay for it less money?
I don't know anything.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I don't know anything.
Could you repeat that one more time?
I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
I think he's betraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Daryl texts, only 3 sleeps to go, Nick. Time to start the drum roll. What does that mean? 3 sleeps to go. What's happening in 3 days? I'll ask my glamorous assistant. What's happening in 3 days? Which mic are you on? Oh, there you are. What's happening in 3 days? Oh, you're not even listening to this show. You're sitting there listening to Classic FM. I know it's relaxing. We're trying to do a show here. What's happening in three sleeps to go? What does that mean? Unless you actually mean that in only 3 sleeps it'll be Jesus' birthday. But that would mean you sleeping for a month at a time, at least. Maybe that'll become government policy. If you can't afford your fuel bill, just knock yourself out for a month. With a government-approved pill. Just remember, don't take the blue one. Only take the red one. Or is it the other way around? Oh, never mind. Just take them both. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? 0345 6060 973. Miguel on a mobile. We know not where. Miguel.
Hello.
Unless you're calling from Mobile, Alabama.
No. Hello, Nick. How are you?
All right, thanks.
Okay, so I'm a Portuguese living in and working in. I've been working in England for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. How do you like it so far?
So far, so good. The last few years are a bit challenging, I guess.
Yeah.
So obviously, English is not my first language, and there's something I struggle with. For
Miguel, you speak English better than most people I talk to on this show.
Thank you. But, for instance, up until recently, I confused the word chum with chump.
Yes.
I thought they meant the same. And I learned that
sometimes they do. Sometimes they do.
Okay, so I've got this question. You might be able to help me. So what's the difference in between an immigrant and an expat? Because...
well, expats are British people that go abroad. And when British people go abroad, they are surrounded by foreigners. Because they're British, and wherever a British person goes, that instantly becomes his land. And everybody that was occupying it before he or she, sexist, got there, is now a foreigner. All the people in Spain are foreign, apart from the British people who've gone to live there. I hope that clears that up.
Yeah, so basically I'm an immigrant, but once, because I can apply for it, get the British citizenship, I'm an expat. That's it.
Right. Just as long as you're not an expert, because we've had enough of those. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my 17-year-old daughter told me the difference is if you got money, you're an expat. If you're poor, you're an immigrant. Basically.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, you should listen to your daughter more. All right. Thanks a lot,
Thank
chum.
You. Bye.
Cheers. 0345 6060 973. Peppa Pig texts, greetings. Poor Bodger will be homeless from Monday, but please let him know he can always kick down at my place.
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World is...
Yes, Peppa Pig World is your new home. I'd like to see him dressed up in one of those suits. I mean, he's worn everybody else's work clothes. Why not Peppa Pig's? Dominic texts, and by the way, he went on a drugs raid in a stab vest. Does stab vest really come in his size? Or do they have to sew two together? Dominic texts, if Norway does send us a large twig this year, we could always chop it up to keep us warm. Well, not if it's as threadbare as last year. Which I thought, I thought the Norwegians were supposed to be our friends. That Christmas tree they sent us last year was tantamount to a declaration of war. We haven't forgotten it, Norway. You'll get yours. Tom texts, just as soon as we can get that ship started again, we're going to come over and give you what for. I mean, to talk about a great metaphor for Great Britain post-Brexit, our brand new ship broke down because somebody forgot to grease it. Tom texts, with rocketing energy bills, inflation set to hit 22% next year and rising interest rates, we have Liz Truss becoming PM on Monday to save the day. Let's just face it, we really are doomed this time. By the way, have you bought a new kettle yet? You can save £10 a year on your energy bills, Boris says, yeah. That's going to be his... that's going to be the thing that people remember about him the most. His stupid rant about a kettle. I wonder if he had to get somebody to go and find out what the cheapest kettle you can buy is, because there's no way that he would ever have a £20 kettle over at his place. Ain't that right, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Wifey wouldn't stand for that. Wouldn't go with your £800 a roll wallpaper, would it? £20 kettle. Who are you kidding? On that subject, Adrian emails, Bojo is a genius. Ditch your ancient kettle and buy a new one for 20 quid and save £10 a year on the electric. In other news, landfills struggling to cope with the sudden surge of old kettles being thrown away. If only I was as smart as that. Just waiting for him to say, get rid of your old boiler and watch the divorce rates skyrocket. Isn't that awful?
Dreadful.
Not me saying it. It was him saying it. I mean, I know I said it, but I was just reading as per my instructions. It weren't me, Governor. I ain't done nothing. Glasgow. Hello, Eric. Eric? Eric.
Nick, my friend, my very good friend, who I love dearly, is a marketing director for, I don't want to mention his company, but he's actually designed, well, he's going to market it soon. It's either going to be called Boiling Boris or Boris the Boil, and it's a kettle. And it actually looks like Boris, and his head comes off. The lid on top of his head, it's ceramic. It's actually ceramic, and it comes with a tea cosy. He's marketing it soon, and I think the price is going to be under a tenner.
Under a tenner. Put me down for none. Can you put me down for none?
I'll recommend it. I might post one to the LBC.
Right, okay. Thanks a lot, Eric. Good news. 0345 6060 973. Small electrical goods news. Adrian emails. No, read that. Archie says, it was sad to hear Mr. Gorbachev's departure. I can only hope Putin's hot on his heels. At what point, by the way, do we actually admit that Vladimir Putin has declared war on the world? I mean, are we just going to carry on and pretend that hasn't happened? He has declared war on the world. I mean, is there any doubt about that? But we're all just looking the other way. I mean, when was the last time you read anything about the war in Ukraine? We were interested for a little while there. And I know because I was on the air for about 17, 18 shows straight from the very moment that he invaded. I did a really long shift or a long stretch of shifts in February, starting with the very day that he invaded. So I did 17 shows in a row, including when they were lobbing rockets into Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. God, that was probably the worst show I've ever done. Not in terms of quality, because, in terms of quality, it was stunning, but just depressing. Anyway, I don't want to go over that again. But, it's almost as though, and I knew it would happen when we were doing this, because that 17 shows in a row are pretty much the exact same thing for 3 hours. I thought, people are just going to get bored of this. Even though it is quite possibly the start of World War III, they're going to want something new news. The first three letters in the word news are the most important ones. That people want it new, regardless of whether it's they're talking about the destruction of all mankind. They want, what's Harry Styles wearing today? And, who's been voted out of Celebrity Love Island, or whatever the hell it is. People want new. And so people have been looking away from the Ukraine thing. It's still happening. Still people dying every minute of every day. It's still utter misery over there. But, we're bored. Have you got another war you can talk about? A new one. Well, the thing with that war, the one that we're all ignoring at the moment, or trying hard to pretend doesn't exist anymore, is that Vladimir Putin seems to have declared war on the world. Is there any doubt about that? And what are we doing about it? Not much. Still, never mind. It's just life. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Here we go. Okay.
David texts, I hope whoever becomes the next PM keeps Brexit safe for us. It would be awful to go back to a stronger pound and a higher GDP. We're British and we demand hardship, says David. You're right. We love a bit of it. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Peckham. Hello, Lanny.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Lanny.
I've been listening to your show for a while now, Nick, and I can tell you it's an amazing show. I love it.
Amazing? What, like science fiction?
I was going to say, I've been waiting to speak to you for a while now. Can you ask Zay for how long I've been waiting for, please?
You've been waiting for, is it like 1 minute?
And 1.
2 minutes?
Yeah, 2.
More than that?
6 million.
6 million minutes.
Oh, okay, Nick. I'm not very happy with you. You know, you make me do homework all week long because I'm thinking about material, which I can call you over the weekend.
Right.
So can I be a listener with material?
Well, okay then.
Nick, I like your Scottish and Irish accent. Can you do it again, please? I've not heard your African accent yet.
Yeah, let me think about that, Lani. No. Go ahead. Time's running out.
Do you know why the Conservative Party has been getting it wrong for the past 12 years?
Do I know that they've been getting it wrong for the past 2?
Do you know why they've been getting it wrong?
Oh, do I know why they've been getting it wrong for the last 12 years? I'm not sure they actually have been getting it wrong. It very much depends on the definition of the word it.
Well, it's because they've been hot. So I think if we put all of them in a bath and use a hose pipe on them, it's going to cool them down and they might start.
Okay, you know at the beginning when I said it might be okay if you were a listener with material, I've had a rethink.
No.
Rona text, last night I saw a 1994 gig of the Eagles back together and they were playing Pretty Maids all in a row.
Rock and roll!
Even though he was wearing specs, I couldn't help noticing that Joe Walsh was your doppelganger. I've always loved that track, says Rona. Yeah, me too. Joe Walsh looks like me. Well, it looks like me after having had some, like about 50 years of heavy medication.
Want to score some pot?
Sue texts, lots going on in Swanage in the next few weeks. We have the folk festival with over 60 different groups of Morris dancers dancing around the town. The Waverley, which is the last passenger-carrying paddle steamer in the world, is doing trips from Swanage Pier. And the iconic train, the Flying Scotsman, will be here for 3 weeks at the Swanage Railway. Come to Swanage and have a great time, says Sue. Well, let me think about that, Sue.
No.
You lost me at Morris dancers. It's a no from me, Sue. But thanks for asking. Walthamstow. Hello, Mark. Walthamstow. Hello, Mark. There you are.
The last time I spoke to you was in 2005 when you used to do the early evening slot.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I've got an idea how our pensioners can save money over this winter.
Go on.
Well, a few years ago, I still worked for a tour coach company. Months, we should take pensioners down to Eastbourne, Brian, etc. For a holiday. And I said to them, why do you go on a holiday in the winter? They said, well, it's cheaper to go to a hotel.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to go to a hotel, be fed and watered and kept warm.
Right. I thought you were going to say it's cheaper to go to the hotel in winter than it is in summer. No doubt. That's probably true.
In the winter time, so all these old folk, rather than spend £100 a week on fuel, just alone, go and book your holidays
in a hotel
because it'll be cheaper in the long run.
Right, you won't have to. I mean, the way the fuel bills are going up, you won't have to go to Eastbourne and Brighton. You could stay right here in the middle of London, swanning it up at the Ritz.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, Nick, because of the prices going up. Out of the season hotels, and because they are short of clients, book hotels and spend at least 2 or 3 weeks. It'll save you in the long run.
Well, that doesn't sound completely insane, Mark, if that's what you were going for.
That's what they should do a few years ago. I have to take them down to the South Coast, in January, February, and March. I can't believe it. But it's pure economics, Nick.
Right. Well, you can't argue with economics. If that is an actual fact, Mark, well, you'll get no argument from me. There you are, you see. Already are we helping yet?
No.
Not really. We're trying. That is actually true. We are trying. Thanks, Mark. 0345 6060 973. James says, did Bodger convince you to get a new kettle this week? No, he didn't. I'll get a new kettle when I need a new kettle. I've had my kettle for about 10 years now and it works just fine. Bodge, keep your hands off my appliance.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Lucy texts, how long can we expect Liz Truss's holiday from reality to last after she becomes Prime Minister? Yeah, she'll get her knees under the desk and then be presented with the facts. Time's up. Martin tweets, I was listening back to an episode of What's Your Problem today. Hey, Carol, was listening to What's Your Problem?
Yeah.
A listener wrote in to say she couldn't disentangle real life from your sound effects anymore. I get that too. When the show resumes and I hear, does anybody know what this guy thinks? No, he thinks that too. He's all caught up in the show, Carol.
Oh, right, yeah.
By the way, we are taping tomorrow. Carol McGiffin and I do a Super Soaraway podcast full of helpfulness. And we need your problems in order to start doling out the help. If you have an issue that you would like solved by the unprofessionals, then simply send it to the following address: nickandcarol@global.com, nickandcarol@global.com, and gird yourself for total satisfaction. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
Oh, right, yeah.
There's over 100. There might even be like 120, 130 episodes up there. It's about an hour long. If you have an hour and you wish to be amused, it'll be right up your alley. It's on Global Player, as are the other two podcasts that I do. And I've got news about the one that is this. That makes sense? Not really. This is going to be put out as a podcast. This show, Friday and Saturday night shows, we put them out as a podcast. We take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity. And by this time next year, you still won't be able to pay your fuel bill. Every little helps, yes?
No.
But that will shortly only be available on Global Player. So if you don't get your podcasts through Global Player already, then you should kickstart that right now. Leave the other ones behind and get it from Global Player in order to save disappointment later on, because you'll be looking for them in other places and they won't be there. It'll still be free. It'll still be me. Wait a minute, please. My headphones are stuck underneath my chair and I'm getting pulled off my head. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. So was that all clear?
No.
The podcast with Carol McGiffin is called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? It is a laugh riot. I guarantee it. You will enjoy. I don't guarantee it, but I guarantee it. But without guaranteeing it. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? And then this, right now, this show is going to get put out as a podcast, and it's called Nick Abbot, The Whole Show. There's also one called Nick Abbot Habit, but if I give you too much information all at once, it'll scramble your mind. Boris Tech, not that one, surely. But, well, let's read on and find out. Boris texts, tomorrow's my last day as PM. I can't wait to finally leave this job. Now I can go to as many business meetings and holidays as I like. He's in another one of his business meetings. Keep that racket down. He says, despite being robustly clear about my incredible achievements, such as getting Brexit done and something vaccines, something Ukraine and something, no one appreciated that I've been doing my best. Oh, God. Thanks for your loyal support. Your next PM will be far worse than me. You're welcome. That is hard to believe, isn't it? That the next Prime Minister is going to be even worse than this guy.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I mean, you wouldn't have thought it possible. You wouldn't have thought it possible that any one of them could become the Prime Minister, and yet at least two of them will have done by this time next week. It's just beyond belief, isn't it? What is happening to this country? serious question. Because I don't recognise it anymore. This guy is the Prime Minister?
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World it has...
oh, never mind. You're never going to get it. Wouter Beddington.
I've just signed up with the supplier.
This sounds like a business meeting that this chap's in himself.
What's that? Sorry. Hello.
Okay. Bye. He just realised he was on the air momentarily, and it was you say hello, and I say goodbye.
Hello.
Goodbye. Weybridge, Julius.
Evening, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've talked about toxoplasmosis in cats, but the world is still as mad as ever.
Right.
You don't recall. You've probably got it yourself by now.
Julius, I speak for 3 hours a night, 3 times a week. Do you imagine I remember every phone call that I've ever had?
It seems longer to us, Nick, I can assure you.
Right.
No, serious point. Energy. Now, here's the thing. A long time since I did science, GCSE or O-level in my case, but I suspect Boris doesn't really have a Scooby-Doo about science. Because as I was saying to your producer, it doesn't matter how much energy or how much the rate of energy applied to a boiling kettle is, it still takes the same amount whether it boils in 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Ooh, now, wait a minute.
It won't
Is that
save
true?
you any money. Yeah. You need the same amount of energy to raise the temperature, the same amount of joules. The only way you can change that is by changing the ambient atmospheric pressure by taking your kettle up a mountain. So the point is, he doesn't have a grasp of science, and nobody around him has stopped him making this statement. But more than that, if everybody did go out and change their kettles, all they do is they boil their water quicker at the end of Coronation Street, and arguably put an increased strain on our falling over grid.
Well, he doesn't do science. He does like Greek fairy tales. Can you imagine how entitled and superior you'd have to feel to go to university and study Greek fairy tales?
I think if PPE at Oxford became a prescribed course, I think we'd have a far better society and government, frankly.
They've all done PPE at Oxford.
That's the point I'm making, Nick.
Oh, are you saying proscribed?
Proscribed.
I thought you said prescribed. Those two words, they're far too close together. They should sound a lot dissimilar. They're just too near, aren't they?
We're agreed. It's almost like a terrorist organisation, is what I'm saying.
Right.
For the amount of damage that it's done to the country.
So what you're saying, Julius, is that all you need to do is buy a £20 kettle and a mountain, and then you'll be fine.
I've no doubt you'll get one free soon, because the way the mantle of the globe is moving around. But no, serious point. It is not a surprise that we don't have a cohesive, energy generation and grid distribution policy in this country. If he comes out with statements like that, and nobody in his circle stops him saying it.
No. And to no one's surprise, it appears he was completely incorrect in every respect. And it did occur to me at the time, I don't know anything about science either, but it did occur to me at the time that it didn't quite sit right with me. Is that true, I thought? And you have explained it perfectly. So we appreciate it, Julius. Excellent work, that man. You're an idiot, Boris.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Unfortunately, you were preaching to those who still think you're a genius, of whom there are a lot. Trudy texts, I love your show. Thanks, Trudy. Mike says, I think I will be, in future, by the way, my glamorous assistant, no need to put up the ones that just say, I really love you, because, it's embarrassing. Mike says, I think I will be very happy to see the back of this hot and humid weather. P.S. Have you started watching Top Boy yet? I've never even heard of it. What is it? Is it another one of those shows where people try to fight their way out of a jungle? I've got no idea. No, I have not. Adam says, I don't know why everyone is worried about their energy bills. All they have to do is buy a new kettle. All they have to do is buy a new kettle or toaster and drop it in the bath while connected, like in Groundhog Day. Problem solved. They didn't do that in Groundhog Day, did they? Did he? Bill Murray didn't drop a kettle in a bath at did he? That's a bit alarming. Sam says, have you ever considered employing a glamorous assistant to read out all your texts and tweets? Good idea, Sam. He could do the show while he's at it. Vanessa says, I'm sure your newsreader isn't named Mayor Thomas. It's Mayor, surely. Like my with an R at the end. You're welcome, says Vanessa. Well, it looks like Mayor when it's written down. M-A-I-R. Is that how it's spelled? Yeah, M-A-I-R. R. Isn't that Mayor? How is that Meyer? I'll ask Mayor. See what she thinks. Mary texts, went out to buy a Morphy Richards kettle today. The guy in the shop said I'd be better off buying a Swan. It doesn't take up a lot of room in the bath, though. So many people with material. Oh, no. 0345 6060 973. Tinmouth. Hello, David. David? Too late. God, so many people who aren't keeping up. Hull. Derek.
Hi, Nick.
Derek.
Well, have you had the Queen's that fed up with Boris and Johnson and his counterparts, his Truss and Sunak, that he's going to invite him up to Balmoral, and when they get up there for the end of it, she's going to lock him in the dungeon, and then she's having Margaret Thatcher's, waxwork wheeled in from Madame Tussauds into number 10, and that's problem solved. We've got Thatcher, 1980s Thatcher back, and them three will be locked up in Scotland. So, what do you think to that?
Well, I think you've obviously given it great consideration, Derek, and I want you to promise me you'll keep thinking. Boris Johnson still believes he could return to Downing Street, but sees making money as its immediate priority, one of his closest allies has said. He still believes he could return to Downing Street, but sees making money as his immediate priority, one of his closest allies has said. It's funny, because I thought that making money was always his immediate priority. I mean, he doesn't spend any of his own money on anything, does he?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Lord Marland, a Conservative peer and long-time friend who led Johnson's London mayoral campaign, said there was a distinct possibility that he would aim for number 10 again. You remember that Bodger Johnson was the mayor of London?
No.
No, I mean, can you think of one single thing that he did when he was mayor of London? Anything at all? No. Lord Marland, a Conservative peer, said he would aim for number 10 again. However, he said the Prime Minister had told him that he first wanted to put hay in the loft and join the international speaking circuit, where you could earn more than £1 million a year.
What?
Well, only if people are daft enough to pay to hear one of those, or the one speech that he has prepared that suits everywhere he delivers it. His act is he shows up late and apparently confused, looking like he's slept in a skip. He pretends not to know where he is or who his audience are, and then he does his vroom vroom act. And that's worth £1 million. What a racket, eh, Bodge? Johnson said to fear that Parliament's investigation of whether he misled MPs over the number 10 parties scandal will be used by critics to end his political career. He's preparing to publish legal advice, which I believe he has done already, which Downing Street claims will show that the inquiry is unfair to him and risks damaging democracy. Right. Or in other words, what would Donald Trump do? God, it's so blatantly obvious. You know what he's going to do and say next, because it's whatever Donald Trump has done and said in similar circumstances. He'll say that the investigations are a hit job. No one ever saw such a hit job. And everyone who questions him are traitors.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Or in Bodger's case, it's all of the above, plus the whining. Whining and whining.
I'm a whiner and I keep whining and whining.
Again and again. But Bodge and his apologists seem to think that being accused of doing something that you are verifiably guilty of is somehow being mean and picking on him. Why are you taking what I have done wrong as evidence of my wrongdoing? He says. I mean, they actually are trying to insist that a minister will not be able to do their job if someone is looking over their shoulder on the lookout for wrongdoing. We won't be able to have a prime minister acting in the interest of the public if they're called out for their lies. That appears to be the defence. They're actually trying to insist that. Well, here's a revolutionary thought. I mean, would you consider not doing anything that's so wrong that committees have to actually look into it?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
In a highly unusual move, Bodge has told civil servants to publish confidential government-commissioned legal advice on the inquiry by the Privileges Committee. The legal opinion by Lord Panic is understood to question the fairness of its terms of reference. Oh, please. Is anybody in any doubt that he has told mistruths in Parliament? I mean, to put it mildly. I mean, come on. Number 10 sources claim that Lord Panic's advice would also criticise the committee's failure to make an explicit distinction about whether Johnson misled MPs intentionally or not when he said he was unaware of lockdown-breaking parties in Downing Street. Right. I mean, even if you ignore all of that, just ignore all of that party stuff, all those business meetings that he pretended not to know about or didn't even realise there was a party when he was at the party. He had no idea it wasn't a business meeting, even when somebody was vomiting up the wall and two people were having sex on the boardroom table. Looked like a business meeting to me. Even if you ignore all that, he lied about job numbers over and over again. His own government department that does statistics for a living told him in writing that what he was telling the House and the country was a lie. And his response was to repeat it again and again, 9 times. How can he not know that he was deliberately misleading the House when his own Office for Facts told him that he was? During Prime Minister's Questions on the 20th of April, I've done homework, can you believe that?
No.
During Prime Minister's Questions on the 20th of April, Bodge said there were more people in work than there were before the pandemic. Liar! This is false. The PM was referring to the number of payrolled employees, which was around 500,000 higher than was prior to the pandemic. But those in self-employed work, that was 800,000 down. So the actual figure of those in work was 300,000 fewer, not 500,000 more, which is what he said it was, which is a big difference. Huge. And he said it 9 times in Parliament, didn't correct himself once. That's despite the Director General of the Office for Statistics Regulation writing to him, telling him that the Prime Minister's use of statistics was, quotes, disappointing. He wasn't angry, he was just disappointed. Not only that, the chair of the UK Statistics Authority also wrote to him saying his statements were, quotes, likely to give a misleading impression of trends in the labour market. Likely to do give a misleading impression. One ally of the PM said Johnson was deeply concerned about the outcome of the investigation. Quotes, it's very important for him that he's cleared, the friend said. If the Privileges inquiry finds against him, that would close down an avenue to return, and he's determined that should not happen. Well, you know, as long as he's got the best interests of this country at heart, and not just self-enrichment and the acquisition of power. It's all about self-sacrifice for the common good with Bodger Johnson. Bodge is understood to be planning to have legal representation during the inquiry. Really? I wonder who's paying for that. If MPs on the committee conclude that he lied when he told Parliament he was unaware of parties, This could lead to his suspension from the Commons, potentially triggering a by-election. Hey, good people of Uxbridge, do you want to rethink your last decision? The inquiry will set out to answer whether MPs were misled when Johnson told the House on several occasions that there were no lockdown-breaking parties in Downing Street.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Hot air. H-O-T-A-I-R.
Gordon texts, is it panic on the streets of London?
Rock and roll!
Yeah. Declan says, and I read that. Darius emails, I read that one. Wow, way ahead of schedule. Doing very particularly well in this second hour. David emails, how about an A to Z of Tory Johnson failures and lies? Keir Starmer might need it for some ammunition when the election comes. Thick Lizzie will demand that we forget the past and move on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, forget the past and move on. Or it's Rwanda for you. Can you believe it's about to get worse? I am stunned. People will think of Bodger Johnson's time in power as the good old days.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
That's how bad it is. And it just keeps going on and on. Still, never mind. It's just life. Omar, Barry.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
Good to be here. My wife's a big fan of your show, by the way. But my point is about the legal advice that came out this evening on a Friday evening when nobody much is around to contradict it. Yeah. Well, the point is, number 10 apparently released it. That's the news I heard. It seems to help clear Boris's name. Okay, number 10 released legal advice that the government have received. When we want to know about government misdeeds or mistakes, we never publish government legal advice. It's
of course
precedent.
Not. That's right.
So who published the advice that helps the Prime Minister? Is this government advice and paid for by us? Or did someone else pay for it? Because if it's government advice, they shouldn't release it.
Barry, I just think thinking it, or especially saying that sort of thing out loud, will have you have you on the next plane to Central Africa before you know it.
I've got an Irish passport.
Well, that will only do you good if you happen to have it on your person when you are requisitioned. And I wish
my nipple.
I wish you the best of luck. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. What was that last bit? Something about his nipple. His nipple?
Disgusting.
Hagar texts, in Monday's final episode of Wacky Races, we'll see whether the winner will be Dizzy Lizzie, as in Penelope Pitstop, or her rival, Swishy Fishy, also known as the Hooded Claw, in an attempt to outdo Bodger Johnson, also known as Dick Dastardly.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah. A little bit like Dick Dastardly. Actually, a little bit like Muttley. That's...
Yeah. Wait a minute.
It sounds a little bit like Muttley there. Sheila says, breaking news. Several executives from the Acme Kettle Corporation are sent to the House of Lords. Tynmouth, David. Oh, David, are we on delay? What is happening with these callers? You wait and you wait and you wait. He's been waiting 37 minutes, but not there. Maybe the call of nature. Maybe nature was calling him. Marion says, I got a stomachache. No, he's just being nice. Thanks, Marion. Appreciate it. You don't have to put the nice ones in, my glamorous assistant. I know you've got a tremendous amount of work to do. You don't have to put the ones that in the, just say, I really love you. Simon says, shout out to those on the Devon Moors. Who are they? Who are they? We love your show, says Simon. But who's the we? Are they the same people as on the Devon Moors, or are the people that love my show giving a shout out to those on the Devon Moors? And should people actually be on the Devon Moors right now? Isn't it dark? Isn't there a law about that? All of these questions, people are keen to find out the answer. Becky, get Lord Panic on the phone. I'm sure he'll have detailed files. Becky says, has the Lizbot been moonlighting? The current BP radio advert sounds very much like she was starting a new career in voiceovers before the top job unexpectedly became available. I haven't heard it. But I'm sure it's excellent in every regard. And Gordon texts, in 3 days, the start of Trussonomics.
Oh, no.
What Liz Truss doesn't know about economics is not worth not knowing. I think I got that right. Let's have Southall, Manesh.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that we live in a sorry state of affairs when you've got the Conservative members voting for Liz Truss to take over, and they can't see the wind from the trees. I mean, you've got... I don't know what's going to happen, but if you vote Liz Truss, you're going to get Keir Starmer. And if they can't see that coming...
What?
I don't know what... If you vote Liz Truss, you're going to get Keir Starmer next year.
What does that... Oh, I see what you mean. You mean Liz Truss is going to be a one-term premier?
Yeah, she can't do anything. Look, if you've got a heart problem, what's the biggest problem we've got in this country at the moment? Cost of living and inflation.
Yeah.
Who's the one man that can fix that? Rishi Sunak.
You think? Why do you think that?
Well, he's the expert in numbers. He knows.
Oh, please do me a favour. He made £100 million on a bet. That's not being an expert in numbers.
If you were going to invest £100 million, who would you give it to? Rishi or Liz?
Mate, I wouldn't give it to either of them.
I'll give it to Rishi. The guy knows his numbers inside out. If you've got a heart problem, you go to a heart surgeon. You don't go to a chiropodist. Yeah? This is what the country is facing.
It's like saying if you've got a medical problem, then just go to any doctor. Dr. Shipman is in and we'll see you now.
But she doesn't have any credentials. She's a lost cause. She has no experience in the finance industry. She hasn't run a business. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's a failure, a complete failure for our country. And we're going to screw ourselves into a high inflation cycle, which we can't get out of.
Manesh, are you out of your mind? You would give your hard-earned money to some bloke from the financial finagling racket just based on on him having won a bet once?
I do numbers. He didn't win a bet. He ran a hedge fund. He comes from a background where he
ran a hedge fund. Exactly right. That, if anything should disclude you from running a country, it's running a hedge fund. It's the complete opposite of what is actually required for the job.
Nick, I'm sorry. 99% of hedge funds are successful. Only 1% are failures.
That has nothing to do with running a country. Don't you understand the difference between the two?
Well, I'm willing to bet you £1,000 each.
Oh my God! I'm more with the betting.
I'll bet you. I'll bet against you, Nick. Yeah. If you invested £1,000 in
Manesh, you are not understanding the question. Running a hedge fund is not akin to running a country. It's not like it in any way, shape, or form.
So running a country means taking a private jet to Australia and wasting £500,000.
It doesn't mean anything of the sort. That's got nothing to do with running a country. That's availing yourself of the appurtenances of office.
But that's what Liz has done. She's wasted £500,000 of her money.
Well, Rishi Sunak has wasted billions of pounds of our money by presiding over a flawed COVID purchasing system. Fraud like you've never seen in your life under his watch.
Well, that's debatable. But,
no, it's not debatable. It's true.
I give it to you that so many people have taken out these loans and these grants and are not going to pay them back.
Correct.
I get that. But we should investigate those people. There's a ways around it.
Yeah, but they're not investigating them. They've decided not to investigate them. Nothing to see here. Please move along. Well, if what you're saying is, of the two, Rishi Sunak might be better, then you might have a case. But if you're telling me that Rishi Sunak is the man for the job, then I think you need to think it out again, Manesh.
No. I always judge my judgments on facts.
Apparently not. No, you don't. You're judging them on emotion and, I don't know, that she's a woman or...
No, it's not because I hate women. It's nothing like that. Don't put
hate
those words in
women?
my mouth.
You just said you hate women. What's wrong with women?
I said to you, it's not because you think I hate women. I'm just hear my words properly. Nick.
You
Come
just
on,
said it again.
I didn't. Look, you're reading it all wrong, my
Manesh,
friend.
this is the
I
most.
love
This
women.
is the most.
I go, listen, I
the
love women. I
most
go to
offensive,
titty bars. I love
sexist
women.
call I've ever had in my life. You should be ashamed of yourself.
No, I'm not. I love titty bars. I love women.
Okay. Wow. Did you get that? I think you've told us a little bit too much there, Manesh. You've shared just a smidge too much, just a little bit. By which I mean a lot. I've actually never heard that phrase spoken out loud. I mean, a lot of men probably think it. Mostly those who were characters in The Sopranos.
Absolutely.
I think that would be their excuse. Love women? Are you kidding? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. What kind of a bar?
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up. 0345 6060 973. Martin emails. The French call us roast beef. The next Prime Minister will be a Yorkshire pudding. And the next cabinet will be filled with donkeys and turkeys. Well, it sounds like an ark. Donkeys and turkeys, you say? And beef. Mill Hill, hello, Jay.
Hey, mate, how you doing? You all right?
Good, thanks.
I'm enjoying the show. I think you're quite funny. You come across quite sarcastic, which is good at this time of night. So you're keeping me going. So props to you.
Well, thanks,
yeah,
Jay.
No worries, mate. Yeah, I like listening to you on the radio. In terms of these two candidates, I don't want either of them, to be honest. Yeah. I don't really like either of them. No. But if I'm being frank, I'm kind of with you. Like, I think Penny Morden should have been in the final two, and I would have probably. Oh please.
Oh please.
Like Survivor.
You what?
You know, I thought. So for me, the reason I think should have been a breath of fresh air compared to the other two, been in the cabinet already, and you know, the part of Boris Johnson's little plan. And, you know what I mean? Like, I think
Jay, it looks like they're all the blooming same to me. I mean, they've all fallen on one side or the other. They've all made their choice. They've all said that they're perfectly happy with however it turns out. If either of them step into the breach, it doesn't make no never mind.
We don't have a choice though, do we? We've only got, like, the thing is, like, we've got to choose one of them, haven't we?
No,
like,
we don't. We, Jay, don't get to choose either of them. But I go with your first instinct. Neither of the above. Neither of the above. No thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
But no. All right. Cheers, Jay. 0345 6060 973. How many pages of 12? I mean, come on, people. I haven't been on the air for an hour and a half yet, and there's 12 pages of tweets and emails and texts. I can't get through that many. Margaret texts, so the £400 that every household was promised for October, they're giving it to energy suppliers for them to deduct £66 from one of our bills over 6 months. £400 will not be going into our bank account, says Margaret, who's only just getting it. Of course not. The government's not going to give you your money back, Margaret. They're going to take your money and give it to the fossil fuel giants. Get with the programme. Harrow, Jonathan.
Nick, hi.
Jonathan.
I wanted to say a couple of things.
Couple of three things. Number one.
The news nowadays it's so scary now because it's just bad news story after bad news story after bad news story.
Yeah, well, there is no such thing as a good news story because if it's good news, it's not news.
But worse than before, actually. And
worse than before? Than before what?
Well, you'll get angry with me for saying this, but I voted in 2016. Before voting for Conservatives, I voted Brexit.
Right. You did the double.
Now, and now, when I look at...
you're not completely satisfied? Is that what you're going to say?
Because when I think about abroad locations, the pound now buys you very less abroad.
Very little indeed, yes.
But I voted in 2016 more out of frustration.
Yes.
And also because I'm slightly psychologically damaged, you say.
Out of frustration with what?
This is the second point.
Point number 2.
This country, this country is going to hell in a handcart because of the crime, you say.
It's even worse than that, Jonathan. We don't even have a handcart.
Really? Because I'll tell you this, because I like this phrase, because Nick Ferrari said, and Richard Littlejohn says it as well, hell in a handcart. I'll give you quick examples. The young people in this country, they don't know nothing about the respect. When I had a good job, I talked to social workers from Singapore.
When you had a what's up?
A good job.
What's that mean?
Working, good J-O-B, job, good work.
Oh, job, J-O-B. Yeah, the J-O-B, right.
Now, the military prison in this country, if you know, if a serving soldier gets court-martial, it's stricter than normal prison because, they have to, it's regimented in this country. But in Singapore...
I haven't, in Singapore, you're not even allowed to chew gum.
No, But in Singapore, in the military prison, the social worker told me what they do is they put two big heavy sacks on a stick on the prisoner back and have a dog chase.
Right, you're talking about torture now. You would prefer that people were actually tortured in this country?
I think all of these parties,
absolutely. Let's get straight. Well, let's skip the torture and go straight to the killing. Why not?
At all of the street parties, the kiddies now. As soon as they turn 21, they all just take drugs and do pornography, and so the police would get their batons out.
I had no idea, really. The moment they turn 21, it's like a birthday bonus. Thanks for the good news, Jonathan. I hadn't. There was information that was unknown to me up to this point. Educational show, no?
No.
But he's right about respect. As Aretha Franklin once memorably sang, RPSCETP. Respect. Marion text, Nadim Zahawi. Numbers Zahawi could have avoided the need to travel to America for guidance on spiralling cost of living here by buying a new kettle. He should have consulted Boris beforehand. What's he gone to America for guidance on the cost of living for? I mean, like, is he meeting anybody in America that doesn't have a phone? Or is not connected to the internet? And can use email. What's he doing that for? Maybe the Minister for Efficiency told him it'd be a good idea.
I don't know anything.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know anything.
Again?
I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. Roy tweets, I don't think the tub of lard will make a good energy efficiency advisor after yesterday's job application, but arise Lord Kenwood. Kenwood. Weak. Phil text, what privileges will Boris Johnson receive after leaving office? Does he get a chauffeur-driven car and protection? More expense to the taxpayer. More and more and more and more and more. Well, he ain't paying nothing for himself, is he? Doesn't ever put his hand in his own pocket. Can you imagine?
Disgusting.
Can you imagine what you'd find in there? It's like a half-eaten sandwich. Jimmy Hoffa. Tinmouth, David. Are you kidding me? This is the same guy that wasn't there moments ago. Just get rid of him. Bromley, Martin. Martin.
What happened to Jimmy Hoffa?
Martin.
Yeah, what happened to Jimmy Hoffa?
He's propping up a freeway.
Yeah, I know that. You know that. But I don't think you're the man that could run this country either.
You don't think who could?
I don't think you could.
Me?
Sometimes, but you talk about everybody's faults, but you don't say, you don't give a solution to the argument that you're talking about.
You want me to run the country? Always go with your gut instincts. If you think you're talking to a moron, you're probably talking to a moron. My fault was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Never give anybody the benefit of the doubt. No, 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 no.
No.
Cliff text, we're all getting trussed up on Monday. Yes. That is probably true, yeah. We're all getting trussed up on Monday, yeah. Putting the cargo hold of a plane and getting flown right out of here. Anybody that expresses a forbidden thought. I can't read that. Why are you giving me stuff to read that I can't read out in the air? Nat emails, greetings from holiday in Helsinki. Bleeping Finns, everything here works. Great public transport, best education in the world, great cafes, parks everywhere, no UK-style food shortages, turd-free waterways, a great leader who likes a party but dances way better than Bodge. Well, let's face it, who doesn't? No wonder they're so happy and self-satisfied, says Nat. Having a border with Russia is a bit of a downer, but would choose to live here rather than under PM Truss. Sounds like a medical procedure for an unfortunate problem.
Disgusting.
It actually does sound like a medical procedure for an unfortunate problem, Liz.
That is a disgrace.
Don't even think that, Nat. But yeah, the people from the perfect countries. Finland, Holland, Denmark, Sweden. Other perfect countries are available, but I'm starting to run out. What is it with them? And they're so happy. But what have they got to be happy about other than, their country actually works well? And it's not run by someone like this.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Or someone like this.
We have never had it so good.
I mean, the Finns aren't going to employ somebody like that to run their country, are they? Any more than they're going to sell off their water. What kind of a stupid country sells off its water, by the way? Just us, in case you were wondering. Only us. On Earth, just us. Thanks a lot, Margaret Thatcher. Great job. Such a great job that people whose lives have been ruined by pretty much everything she ever did are still defending her to this day. It's just amazing, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's just quite beyond belief. Still, they'd vote for her to do the same thing again, which is, in a nutshell, thank you, sir, may I have another? There seems to be a masochistic streak running right up Britain's back. We love a bit of it. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Sue emails, I think Fishy Sunak could do very well if he did a stint as guest reader on Jack and Ori. He's demonstrated during the Tory leadership contest that he's more than capable of coming up with a different story every day. Yeah, well, he did that, yeah. I thought he was, fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? What's a nicer way of saying normal? I thought he was fairly normal, but, apparently not. Got that wrong. He realised that he was losing, so he decided to become, I don't know, it's like anti-Rishi, or maybe he was that kind of twisted, nasty person all along. But he certainly seemed to adopt that pose right at the end there when he thought that he couldn't win by any other method other than, I don't know, blaming benefit louts and militant activists and all that nonsense they keep coming out with. This is what they're going to be following or fighting the next general election on, by the way. Militant activist, fill in the gap here, and woke nonsense, because it's all they've got. I mean, they won't have anything else they're going to fight the next general election on the NHS being safe in their hands. No, their fiscal responsibility. Of course not. Law and order? No. What else have they got? I mean, that pretty much sums up where people's, hopes and dreams lie. They want to get a better life for themselves. They want to be taken care of when they're ill. And they want to be protected from evil doers. And they've failed serially on those 3 counts. And it's going to be up to our eyeballs in inflation and job losses and recession and all of the rest of it. So the only thing that they'll have left at the next general election is fighting the war on woke. And they're going to start ramping that up big time. If you think you've seen a lot of that so far, just wait. It'll be the war on woke and Labour's activist, militant, socialist, communist, blah, blah, blah. Painful, really. Connecticut, Martin.
Hi. Having worked for the world's largest hedge fund for 5 months about 10 or 11 years ago, I'd like to disavow Manesh and all other listeners of the idea that people working at hedge funds are fit to work anywhere else. That is all they're fit to work at. I didn't see compassion, an ounce of empathy, an ounce of anything other than sports obsession, ageism, sexism, and racism. So I know that's a wild generalization, but there was nothing pleasant about it at all. And most of the people many of them were idiot savants. So I don't think they're fit for running the country.
Of course not. It's a it's a very specific set of skills to be a part of a hedge fund. And one of the skills is to be borderline psychopathic, to not care about anybody other than your own self-advancement.
Which is why I only lasted there for 5 months and got out.
But you stayed in the area, though, because Connecticut, Stamford in Connecticut, that's hedge fund territory, isn't it?
Hedge funds headquarters, yes.
Yeah.
But I'll be leaving for France soon.
Okay. Well, have you made enough money to buy France yet?
Oh, enough.
To a large enough chunk. All right. Thanks a lot, Martin. 0345 6060 973. Kieran texts, have you ever noticed that Fishy Sunak looks a bit like Roland Rat? Well, now you come to mention it. Well, he says it's the ears and the face. No, I think it's the eyes. He does look a little bit like Roland Rat in the eyes, doesn't he? Because I always just thought, well, he looks a bit like puppy dog eyes. But no, I think he's got Roland Rat eyes, which are an entirely different story. Hannah texts, the Tory party does not require people's votes now, so they're resting on their laurels and enjoying their luxury life, lounging around and watching the country collapse at the seams. And they'll still get a majority with a minority of the vote in 2 years' time. Liz Truss is right. They've never had it so good. Yeah, they've never had it so good. And I would bet a small amount of money that they will get another term with a minority of the vote, which is what they got last time. They got less than 50% of the vote, which gave them 100% of the power. Is that a democracy?
No.
Of course not. It's some sort of twisted version of democracy, where the majority of people's votes count for nothing. Zero. 56% of the people in this country did not vote for the Conservative Party, and they get nothing. 56%. Staggering. And that's just the people that could be bothered to vote. It's something of the order of, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it's something like 70% of those eligible to vote did not vote Tory. The 30% that did got 100% of the power. Not a democracy. Something other than that. I don't know what you would call that, but it's not really a democracy. Not really. But I bet that they can persuade at least the same number of people again to vote Conservative next time around by just concentrating on woke and dinghy spotting. Of course, that's the big one. Dinghy spotting. It's a flood, an invasion, that kind of thing. Oh, that'll get them on board. Don't you worry about a thing, Liz. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. How are you tonight?
I am great, mate.
Good. Couple of bits you'd not mentioned. I don't know whether they've slipped under the radar. But Johnson appointed a new overseer of who can get appointed as a peer to the House of Lords. And he's appointed Harry Mount. Now, this is the guy that wrote a book, something, I can't remember the precise term, something about the wit and genius of Boris Johnson.
Oh, my God.
And was a member of the Bullingdon Club.
Oh, my God.
And so they're reinforcing their position. Again, cronyism.
The House of Lords should be dismantled instant. I mean, not the actual bricks. They can stay. We could turn it into a tourist attraction. But the people within it should all be fired immediately and then be required to reapply for their jobs.
So when Johnson wants to appoint a few more, which he does as a leaving Prime Minister...
A few more?
He's appointed his mate. He's appointed his mate to oversee who can be appointed.
Right. That sounds like Boris Johnson up and down.
I mean, I don't know. Is he forming a square around the blunderbuss? Blunder truck? I don't know.
forming a square around himself, more like.
Something like that. But the other one that he appointed today was Baroness Finn on the Standards in Public Life Committee. Now, she was formerly Michael Gove's girlfriend.
Well, steady on. Do we know that that's true?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, before they were both married. Nothing untoward about it, but nevertheless, there's the connection there, that incestuous little let's keep it all in the family job. And then the other thing is that she actually is managing director of a firm that is a consultancy on government efficiency. Would you believe?
Yes, I would believe that.
I mean, how much tighter can they all try and tie it all into a little nest of vipers? They're all in that little group, and they're tightening ever tighter, Nick.
Well, I think that what is becoming clear is what has always been the case. It's just that we didn't really used to get a peek into what exactly you've just described, this sort of nepotism that goes around. It's the old school tie stuff, which has this country's riven with, always has been. It's just that when it becomes so blatant, when you've got somebody who just doesn't care about how blatant he is, like a Trump, like a Johnson, then things that that existed before but went unspoken suddenly become very, very clear. And it's really quite surprising to a lot of people who perhaps assumed the best of our leaders that such a thing exists. And it's them and us, all of us versus the very, very few people who have acquired all of the power right at the top, and they just keep doling the power out. They pass the power around like children do pass the parcel. Here is your turn to step to the front of the stage where the spotlight is, and I'll step in the back and I'll count all the money we made.
Yeah, I quite agree with you, Nick. And can I have one further little point?
One further point.
Yeah, just about Liz Truss. She's not a stupid woman. She's a very bright woman. But what Liz Truss is a very good analyst. She's not an ideas person. She's not a leader. She's good at analysing. She analysed what got Boris there, the sort of lying and the dead cats and the distraction bombs and everything else. And she's following the same path. But as an analyst, she should have actually caught up with the fact that it's destroyed him. And she hasn't got quite that far yet. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Well, people in her position will see the failures of others and will assume that they themselves are so spectacularly intelligent, bright, and talented that they could not possibly make similar mistakes. Well, keep that thought in mind, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Steve emails, is it possible you can filter out the stupid people, or is that going to leave you talking to yourself? Well, for large chunks of the show, yes. But then, what difference does that make? Shane says, when will they publish the Warm Bank Christmas opening times? Well, what's funny is actually really sad. When will they publish the Warm Bank Christmas opening times? That's going to be people's immediate future. In this country, the 6th richest country in the world, apparently. Now, of course, we're one of the the worst countries in the world when it comes to actually distributing wealth. We got a lot of wealth. As you will know, if you just take time to walk around London's fashionable Belgravia, for instance. I walked through there just the other day. There's so much money there. It's but cash money is virtually pouring out of people's doorways. They've got so much of it. They've bought extra rooms in order to fill it to the roof with their cash, and they still haven't got enough places to store it. Pouring out their front doors it is. They don't know what to do with it. They've got so much money. But that's them. That's not anybody else. You can walk by and you can press your nose against the window if you can get past the private security, but you ain't getting any of their money. 0345 6060 973. Listen to that noise. I can't believe how noise can just travel through a door that's about 3 feet thick. Tom texts, UK energy companies to make 170 billion in excess profits over the next 2 years. The leaked analysis reveals. We're being taken for fools, says Tom. 170 billion in excess profits. Yeah, like I said, Belgravia, Chelsea, all of these places. You walk past an unassuming house, and then you look in an estate agent's window and you see that unassuming house is worth £17 million.
What?
Who's buying it? We've got a lot of money in this country, but it's not evenly spread around. In fact, I think it's the worst in Europe for spread of wealth. All of those people that are striking, all of those people that are saying, well, hang on a minute, if your company is making £50 million or £50 billion, where's all the cash going if you can't afford to pay the people who actually created that wealth a decent amount to live on? And the answer is, of course, that the cash is going to those who don't work for a living, those who just have acquired assets, shares and stocks and gold and paintings and cars and all the rest of it. That's where the money goes. Appreciating assets. You poor people have got to work for a living, well, you're screwed. But that's because you did not take the precaution of being born to millions.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Bazza emails, all right, Nick, mate. Don't know what your, spelt wrong, problem is with Boris, spelt wrong. He's, spelt wrong, done what he said he was going to do and succeeded. Spelt so wrong, I can't even begin to tell you. And succeeded, unlike Blair, spelt wrong, and Brownie. I was at the pub in town. Well, that part, I believe.
Booze.
I was at the pub in town and met the lads who all had same opinion, and we are happy with Richie or Trust, 'cause either will make you lefties cry, so that'll, spelt wrong, do us at least. They, spelt wrong, will defend the country, spelt wrong, if someone would blast us. Yeah, I think that's about right. Yep, that's about right. Hampton, hello, Matthew.
Oh, good evening to you, Nick.
Good evening to you, Matthew.
Excellent production man there.
Thanks.
Now, I don't understand all this, like, sniggering. I know everyone's got their own opinion.
Sniggering? Who's sniggering?
Yeah. Well, about Richie Sunak.
There's sniggering?
Well, a lot of people doesn't seem. Well, when I say sniggering, a lot of people don't seem to want him to get the position.
No.
Now, I see him as the ideal man to get the position.
Ideal? In what sense ideal? What is it that Rishi Sunak brings to the table that makes him an ideal candidate to run the country?
Well, he's very professional, very smart.
Professional, smart. Right.
I've seen him on Question Time, and
he's smart. He's got a tie and a shirt and everything.
Yeah, GMTV and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and he comes across as very well,
smart.
very educated.
Educated, right? Warm. Warm.
Yeah, no, I'd like him to get the position.
Right. Why though?
Well, I just like him.
You just like him based on what?
Well, I just think he's, he could be quite effective, and I just see him as the ideal successor to Boris.
Right, but okay, I'll just try one more time. But why is he ideal? What about him makes him ideal? You mean to say that Boris Johnson can't dress himself and Rishi Sunak can? Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, there is that to it, but surely you can see how bright and professional he comes across.
Bright. Well, I'm not sure that bright. He doesn't seem bright to me. Not bright in the sense that of the skills that would be required to run an actual country. I mean, he might be able to run some finance business. He might be able to be a part of some hedge fund somewhere, but that does not qualify you to run anything other than a hedge fund.
Deep down, who do you actually see getting the position?
Well, they told us over and over again that Liz Truss is going to get it. I can't believe that either of them are going to get it, but then I can't believe that what's his name is our current Prime Minister.
Yeah. Wait.
I mean, he's the actual leader of this country right now. How far have we fallen?
Well, we have, I have to admit,
right.
But, which is a shame. But
it's a shame. It's a shame. Right. Well, let's agree on that. It is a shame.